So I picked up this Tineco S10 cordless stick vacuum at Walmart for $120 on Black Friday. And it was actually an interesting buying experience because when I looked on the Tineco manufacturer website, and I also looked on Amazon and other retailers, I could not find any information about this unit. So what I'm thinking is that the S10 specifically is either a Walmart model or it's a Black Friday 2022 model. But upon digging a bit more, I found that this vacuum is most similar to the Pure 110, apart from it not including as many accessories. So once I decided to purchase it and I got it home, I was actually very pleasantly surprised with the power that it offers and the number of features and versatility that this cordless stick vacuum offers, especially compared to a traditional upright vacuum. What I have on the table is everything that comes in the box. You get one head unit with the S10, whereas with the Pure 1X you get two head units. And this comes by default with this brush that has both a hard bristle that helps with vacuuming carpets. It isn't as long as most traditional vacuum cleaners, but I found that it still does a very good job getting most Berber carpets and low pile carpets clean. And it also comes with a softer felt tip, which does a great job vacuuming up fine dust and other particles on hard wood floors and tile. This head unit also has an LED light bar included, which at first I thought was a bit of a gimmick, but once I actually started vacuuming, I found that it illuminated the floor very well, and it made it a lot easier to see hidden dust that you normally wouldn't find. This vacuum does come with two accessories included. The first one is just a traditional upholstery tool, and the other one is this combo accessory, which has a fine bristle, which is very good for dusting surfaces. I found that the suction is not right where the bristles are, but it still captures all the dust and doesn't make a mess all around the floor that you just vacuumed. And then if you push this button down, it also has more of an upholstery hard tool, which is great for like vacuuming out cars or couches or things like that. As you can see, it very finely sweeps it, but things like this big dust don't necessarily get picked up in the first go. I can switch it to the hard mode though, and that picks up those rocks just fine. And speaking of these accessories, a replacement head unit is about $70 from the manufacturer, as well as a replacement battery for the 2500 milliamp hour capacity. The vacuum does come with one replaceable battery, which I love. I love that these batteries are replaceable, meaning that if this dies, and this is typically what dies on cordless vacuums, you can go to the manufacturer and purchase a new battery or even a knockoff battery on Amazon, and your vacuum will be up and running again. This is an advertised 55.5 watts or 2500 milliamp hour, and the manufacturer says that this battery should last you 40 minutes on auto mode. From the data that I've seen, it lasts about 10 minutes or so on max mode. Now for me personally, I was able to vacuum out my entire car using both this head unit and just these included accessories for 40 minutes. I still had 2 bars remaining out of the 3. Then I went inside and I vacuumed for about 10 minutes or so using only the head unit, and I was able to have about 30% battery remaining. Now to really explain the auto mode, we have to look at the Dustbin. It does use the Tineco iLoop sensor technology, which senses how much dirt is coming into the unit and changes the speed of the motor depending. So if you have a really dirty surface, it really revs up the motor and gives you a lot of extra suction power to clean up that mess more quickly. But if you're just dusting like a bunch of decorations and shells and stuff, it's going to rev the motor low to save on battery life. Now at first I thought that I wouldn't really like that auto mode, but I found that it really does help to conserve that battery like I was saying earlier. Now it isn't perfect. Sometimes weird things can trigger it and make the motor rev really high, whereas other times it will not give me enough power. That's why it's nice that they do include an option to switch it to a max mode just by clicking this button on the controller. And speaking of this head unit, they do also include an LED display that will show you the amount of dirt that is coming into the unit. This isn't really too useful when you are vacuuming, but it can be nice to see. And it will also show you the battery level, but it does not show you an exact percentage. It only has 3 bars. It does also advertise that it has a 450 watt motor. I believe this is brushless, and in my experience it has provided enough power to vacuum my hardwood floors, my tile floors, low pile carpets, and Berber carpets upstairs. Now other than that, this Dustbin size is fairly standard for most cordless vacuums, but coming from an upright vacuum, I kind of find that this is a bit on the small side, and if I'm really vacuuming my house when it's dirty, I'm going to have to probably stop towards the end to empty it before it reaches this max, and then go and finish up and then have to empty it again afterwards. And the actual construction of this does kind of seem a bit flimsy, especially right here. I was just looking at this right now and it seems like it might have a few cracks, which is very disconcerting, and I'm also worried that this plastic piece right here might potentially fail. I'm gonna baby this. I wish that they would have used harder plastics, you know, it is kind of bendable and stuff. And the last bit of this, of course, is the pipe that transforms it into a stick vacuum. This does include the sensors for the iLoop technology, and this seems to be built of very high quality materials, and it is in a very nice color, and I measured this at 28.5 inches. The vacuum is incredibly versatile and easy to put together. The hardest thing, I think, is actually trying to fit this dustbin onto the unit. You just have to get this hook hooked in right at the top. As for the head unit, it is very easy to remove the brush roll. One little nitpick is that hair does get collected in the brush roll. This is just after a few days of usage. Honestly, I don't know how you would engineer a solution to that kind of problem. I've already taken mine out. You can just stick it back in. Then there's a little plastic removable piece that you can put back on. And your accessories can slot very easily onto the unit. Sometimes you have to move this around a bit to get it on. And the unit itself is very quiet in my opinion, thanks to this brushless motor. And honestly, if I was vacuuming and there were people in the room right next to me, I really don't think that this would bother them at all. Now I would like to go and show you some of the characteristics of the dirt that I picked up. You just push down this lever and then all the dirt will release. So this was both from my car and also vacuuming out my carpets. And you can see that it does pick up a lot of hair and thicker dust, but it also picks up a lot of fine dirt. I am very impressed with the grain of dirt that it was able to pick up. That really shows you that the bristles are getting very deep into the carpet and really sucking up a lot of that embedded dirt. I know when I first vacuumed my rug, I could really see that it was picking up each of the fibers of the carpet. It looks fantastic. It looks better than it has ever really looked when I vacuumed it with an upright vacuum. So you can see there's just a ton of dust and dirt that was sucked up from my car. And specifically, it's always been really difficult to vacuum out the floor mats because you either have to whack them with like a stick, or you have to bring them inside and wash them in the tub, or try to use an upright vacuum, but it's always just too big. But I was actually able to go and put this head unit onto the handheld unit like this. As you can see, it does actually spin up and work. So I was just able to take this whole thing into the car and not have to mess with really long hoses and the upright unit falling down and stuff, which has always been a mess. Alright, so with that, now I'd like to go and spill some of this on my carpet and show you the vacuuming performance. Alright, so I have all the pieces here. You just go and slot this piece in here, and then just go and place the end piece in. It comes to be a fairly good size. It is about half of my height, and I found that sticking this up and trying to reach the ceiling, I am able to get to the ceiling and do things like vacuum my vents. Alright, so let's go and vacuum this mess up. Okay, that was just one pass on Berber carpet. There is some dirt and grime still embedded in here. Overall, I am incredibly impressed. Even a big clump of dust was able to easily be sucked into this. Let me just go over a few more times for good measure. It does swivel, but as one reviewer mentioned, you do have to rotate your wrist a lot in order for it to swivel. I'm used to it having a very, I guess, sensitive motion, but it does work perfectly fine. It did leave some dirt and some stains, but I think that was more due to the nature of what I had sucked up previously and not necessarily the mess that I left. And as for the hardwood floors, I have set up a test here with the remaining dirt. You can see that it kind of started to push the excess dirt, but from what it was vacuuming up, it did get a lot of the dust removed. As you can see, it made a very fine line where it was passing, and although there is some remaining dust left on the floor, it did do a very impressive job. It is knocking up a few of the rocks, which is not ideal, but little pieces, little fine grains of dust and stuff, it does not knock back. And there we go, all cleaned up. So that about does it for my review of the Tineco S10 cordless stick vacuum. It offers a fantastic value, especially for the $120 price tag that I paid for this. This is my first cordless vacuum, but I am incredibly impressed with it. I love the versatility and the flexibility and also the repairability of this. So time will tell for the overall quality, but right now, I am incredibly satisfied, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope this review was informative, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.